Hi, this is Derek Scarzella with Action to Go Automotive. I have a really special video for you today. We interviewed Chris Barron, lead singer of the Spin Doctors, while he was at Katie's Cars and Coffee. So he was with his father, Ken Gross. If you don't know who Ken Gross is, we had a chance to interview him before. He's pretty much an automotive legend. He's one of the authorities on rare, beautiful cars in the United States. He's worked with Jay Leno. He's at some of the premier automotive shows around the country, Pebble Beach, etc. And just a fun fact, he is Chris Barron's dad. And we got a chance to interview Chris Barron about growing up with his dad, what he learned from his dad. And I asked him if he had any fun car stories or anything. Fun fact, he's not a car guy, but we rolled with it. And I really hope you guys get a chance to enjoy this video. If you're a music fan, if you're a 90s music fan, if you remember songs like Two Princes, it was just a wonderful experience, very, very quick experience as well. Didn't want to take up too much of his time. This was very impromptu. And the video starts immediately where he just goes into growing up with his father. So I do apologize for that. Again, this was very off the cuff. But yeah, we asked him about his father, growing up with his father, etc., and he just dives right in. So hope you enjoy this. If you're a music fan, if you're an automotive fan, you're going to get some fun factoids, some fun behind-the-scenes stories from Chris. And yeah, enjoy. Thank you so much.
Growing up with the foremost authority on automobiles in the world, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that my dad was going to end up being like a figure that he is today. Because when I was a little kid, he was working for Avon Cosmetics, so he was doing like a dual profession. So my earliest memories are like my dad he had like a little kind of extra room off of the bedroom where he had like an old like Olympus typewriter. So I just remember like the middle of the night, if I like woke up in the middle of the night, I would go sit by the nightlight in the hallway and I would listen to my dad like clacking away on that typewriter. And my dad types like, probably close to 50 words a minute with 4 fingers. So it's this like modified hunt and peck kind of technique with this great little cadence. So when I was a little kid, again, like my dad was trying to, break into automotive journalism, but he was also working at Avon. So like my early memories were like me and my little brother just going around. We had a Ford panel wagon back then, a Woody wagon. And we would go to these car shows in this wagon, and we had these little clapboard signs, and my dad was writing for a great magazine called Special Interest Autos. It was owned by the same guy who owned Hemmings Motor News.
Oh, wow.
Terry Eric out of Bennington, Vermont. And so Dad got like a little commission for every subscription that he sold. So we'd be like walking around, my brother and I had these like clapboard signs, him like 5 and me like 7, little like, bowl haircuts, little blonde kids with bowl haircuts. We'd be pointing, to where my dad was with the, we'd be like, look for the Woody wagon. So yeah, I mean, in the 80s, when I'm like 17 years old, my dad, was down at a different house, down in the basement in the study he had then. And, he was like, yeah, I'm going to quit Avon and I'm going to start writing full time.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is like, in his 40s, I guess he's about 40 years old. And so up until my dad, up until the 80s, he was doing 2 jobs at the same time. He's got boundless energy, just a super duper hard worker. So like, being a kid, I remember like driving 2.5 hours to a barn in Pennsylvania to look at like a guy would have like a, Vincent Black Shadow or something like that, or just a part, go drive like 2 hours to go look at a carburetor or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I never really picked up the car thing. I appreciate cars, but I have nothing like the encyclopedic knowledge that my dad has. But I definitely like picked up the thing of expertise and like knowing a lot about a subject and
like rock and roll.
Sure, yeah, the idea of like a collection and the idea of like putting together a group of objects like cars or guitars or books or and having like a through line and focusing in on something that you're interested in a very alert, thoughtful kind of way. And also, my dad was very, it was like really brave of him to like drop the corporate paycheck and just move into something that he loved doing. So later on, when it's time for me to go after a profession, from the get-go, I talked to my dad and I was like, I want to do what you did, but I want to skip the corporate part, just go straight to what I want to do.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So he like taught you dedication and passion,
Absolutely,
in a sense.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Without ever really saying much about it, just by example.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Were there any crazy rock star car stories, even like your friends or anything, or?
No, I've just been like a nerd with cars. I mean, like I just never, it's funny. Like that's not. When I got some money, I was like, I guess I better buy a car. So I got like a 325i, and I didn't like owning it. Like I didn't like having. I'm not a like fancy car kind of guy. So like,
I love the Adam Sandler story you have about Saturday Night Live. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you'd want to give that, but
yeah,
Sure. I mean, if we can.
It's not exactly on the topic that you were. But
sort
yeah,
of.
I mean,
You didn't have a car.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, I didn't have a car. That's right. Yeah. So we do Saturday Night Live. And,
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm in the like hair and makeup chair, and the like hair and makeup lady is just like, so how'd you get here? Meaning like, did you come on a tour bus, or did you come in a limousine, or did you come on the Sony corporate jet, or whatever? You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I took the E-train. And she was like, you took the subway here? And I was like, yeah, I didn't want to be late. I was living on the Lower East Side, and I just didn't want to I knew there'd be traffic and stuff like that. She was like, well, that's cool. You took the subway to do SNL. Like yeah. So, like leave hair and makeup, and I'm like walking down a hallway, and Adam Sandler comes up to me and goes like, hi, I'm Adam. And I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. And he goes, hey, did you take the subway here? And I was like, yeah. And then we were on the week after Sinead O'Connor tore up the picture of the
Oh my God! Wow.
So Lorne Michaels comes up to the band and he's like, hey, you know what happened last week? And we were like, yeah. And he was like, don't try and pull any of that shit. And we were like, no, we were just going to get on and tear ass.
Was that the week Joe Pesci was on too?
We were on with Joe Pesci.
Yeah. I remember he repaired the picture of the Pope.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he did.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Pope, but the new one's cool. But anyway, like, Lorne Michaels is like, don't do anything like that. We're like,
Okay.
No, we're just gonna rock. Don't worry. And he goes, okay, great. Have a good show. Break a leg. And he turns to walk away, and then he turns around and he goes, Chris. And I go, oh God, what did I do? And he goes, did you take the subway here? And then I went. Actually, there's an epilogue to this story. There's an epilogue to this story because my the first show that my wife Lindsay and I went to after COVID was Masters of the Telecaster, and G.E. Smith was playing.
Oh wow!
And afterwards, went over to say hi to him, and we were pretty merry. Like we had maybe a couple extra glasses of wine at the show. The show was great, and so my wife is standing there. She's heard the story I just told like a million times, and we're talking to GE, and he's such a great guy, just the nicest, coolest dude in the world, guitar legend, and was the music director on SNL for forever. And
G.E. Smith and the Saturday Night Live Band.
That's right.
There you go.
And played with Bob Dylan, and just a brilliant musician and a music historian, just the coolest guy. Always thought he was great. I mean, you run into him in guitar stores, and he was always like really cool before I was famous, and he was just like, if I am famous, I don't know. But anyway, not to get into that. So we were just standing there, and I'm kind of drunk, and I'm like, hey, you want me to carry your gear for you? And he's like, carry it where? And I was like, I don't know, you got a van or something? It's New York City, like Manhattan, he doesn't have a van. City Winery. And we just have a funny like conversation, and I turned to walk away. I was like, Chris, you know what I always remember about you And I go, what? And he goes, when you guys did SNL, they would have sent you a limo or a jet or whatever, and you came on the subway. And I turn and I look at my wife, and she's just looking up at me, and her eyes are shining. And it was just the greatest moment. Like another reason to just be so grateful that G.E. Smith is the guy that he is.
That's awesome. Well, Chris, we'll leave it there. My hand is killing me.
Yes.
But thank you so much for
Oh,
telling
my
these
pleasure,
stories.
man. Yeah,
thank you so
thank
much
you.
for your time.
Yeah.
Jordan, thanks for hooking us up.
Jordan.
And great seeing you. Great meeting you.
Nice meeting
It's always
you,
wonderful
too.
meeting a true musician.
All right, let's do this again sometime.
Take care. This is Derek Scarzella. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching or enduring. If you're feeling generous or even just mildly entertained, please like, subscribe, and comment to support the channel. I know you've got opinions. Don't even try to deny it. Drop them in the comments. Argue with me. Argue with each other. You are officially invited to engage in glorious internet combat. You can also find me on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Instagram's awkward little brother, and the granddaddy of them all, Facebook. Oh, and while I've still got your attention, my novels The Vicious Game and Knuckle Crack Bone are up on Amazon. They're unapologetically gritty, punch-you-in-the-face crime stories with rave reviews. If you give them a shot, I'd be honored. Thank you again for watching. Rest well, hero. You're home.